Our international affairs editor, Philip Turle, joins us now. Well, Philip, we're hearing at this stage, more protests ongoing, more casualties. What's the latest you have for us?
OK, I think, first of all, one can't imagine what it must be like for protesters in Tehran and around Iran right now, the actual psychological pressure that they are under, going out and protesting and feeling that they might not get out of the protests alive because of the clampdown. I think that is something that we all have to bear in mind. The latest casualty toll, and you have to also take this as being something that is probably not exact due to the internet shutdown over the past few days. The fact that getting information out of Iran is extremely difficult. The US-based human rights activist news agency says 496 protesters are reported to have been killed and 48 members of the security forces. What we've seen is reports that bodies are piling up in hospitals, people are being brought in an emergency situation needing surgery and intervention really quickly. I think the way things stand right now is that there are three ways of looking about this and how this can carry on. The first one is the strength of the domestic actors, those who are the protesters, how long they can carry on for, how long they have the enthusiasm to keep in the streets, which appears pretty intact over the past week or so, since the 28th of December, basically because of the start of this being with price increases, inflation going up and up, and then people coming into the streets politically because they don't like the regime. They want regime change. They say that they have no future in Iran. They can't find work. They can't afford to live normally because prices are so high. They just want a change, and that's what's brought out the rest of the protesters. How long they can hold out? That's the first question. Second question is, what is going to be the outcome of the security forces? Just a reminder, the Iranian army has about 340,000 members. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard, which is extremely well organized and was introduced by Ayatollah Khomeini in 1989 to protect the Iranian government and the regime. They have about 125,000 members, and they are extremely well armed to do that. And I think they are the organization that are most feared in Iran. How long they will hold out. If they start turning against the regime and refusing to follow orders, that means the regime will be in a very difficult situation. And the third point, which I think is also important to underline, is would all of this be affected by American intervention? So those are the main points that I think we need to bear in mind this morning. For the moment, it appears that the protesters are pretty much determined to carry on demonstrating in the streets to keep calling for the fall of the regime.
Well, you mentioned it there, Philip, but the US President Donald Trump had said if the protesters were attacked, the US would intervene militarily. He's now saying that Tehran has reached out for talks.
Yeah, now, you have to also bear in mind that Donald Trump also changes his mind a lot, and he can say one thing one day and then change his mind the next day. He's saying basically that Iran is reaching out for talks, but the US might intervene before those talks actually take place because Iran is keen to win freedom, maybe more than ever before. This is Donald Trump talking, and the United States is ready to help. Now, the Wall Street Journal has said that Donald Trump is due to hold a briefing on the options for Iran tomorrow, Tuesday. There are several choices also here which Donald Trump is considering. First of all, military intervention and bombing raids to try to put an end to the regime and certainly undermine its efforts to stop these protests. Second is cyber attacks against the Iranian infrastructure, for example, like we see in Ukraine at the moment, against the electricity supplies, against the internet, which is what they're already doing. The third one is an end to the internet blackout via Elon Musk. Donald Trump has said that he's going to talk to Elon Musk, even though they don't really get on very well anymore, the two of them, to request that he intervenes via SpaceX and also Starlink, which are two of the companies that he owns. Starlink's already been active in Iran to try to get the internet back up and running in Iran. The next one is more sanctions, which the US is also considering, and also boosting anti-government organizations. That's to say, trying to give them the means to increase their support base in Iran in an effort to fight against the regime. Those are all of the elements that are being considered by Donald Trump right now. That all seems fine as far as the Americans are concerned, but there is worry on their part about just where this might go if they were to intervene in Iran. I think there is concern that this could actually work in favour of the Iranian regime. We had a statement from Mohammad Bagher Kalibaf, who's the Iranian parliamentary speaker, who has threatened retaliation against the United States, saying that in the event of an attack on Iran, both the occupied territory, meaning Israel, and all American military centres, bases and ships in the region will be our legitimate targets. That is something that is worrying the US. But there is also, as I was saying, this fear that this could be perceived by Iran as an attack from outside against Iran's national sovereignty, and that would bring more people to the support of the regime who say, we are under attack from the exterior, we have got to come together to stop that from happening. That's exactly the opposite of what the Americans would like to obtain with these bombing raids. So no direct decision has been made so far by Donald Trump and the American administration about what exactly they're going to do. We'll have to wait and see what Donald Trump announces tomorrow.
OK, well, meanwhile, Philip, some protesters have been calling for the return of Reza Pahlavi, the son of the former Shah of Iran, and he's been speaking out in the United States. Tell us more about him.
Right, well, he's been seen as a man who could be the figurehead of these protests. This is also something new in these Iranian protests that this time round compared to previous demonstrations that we've seen, demonstrations of force in the street. He's 65. He's the crown prince of Iran. He hasn't been to the country since he was 18. He fled in 1979 with the fall of his father, the former Shah of Iran. He founded the Iranian National Council in 2013. He is still the spokesperson for that Iranian National Council, which has headquarters in Paris. He has also recently just promised a lawful transition in Iran. Now, there are problems involved in him becoming the figurehead here. Experts say that he's not perceived as a galvanizing figure in Iran. He's still divisive because many people have a mad memory of the time when the Shah was running the country, even though they say it was better in the old days than it is today under the regime of Ayatollah Khamenei. He also lacks charisma and has shown pretty little inclination over the years to form coalitions with all of those who are outside those who will back him as being the legitimate force for a new Iran. There are also concerns about his political leanings. About a year ago, he took part in the US Conservative Political Action Conference. He was seen next to Javier Milei of Argentina, next to Steve Bannon, next to Elon Musk, and next to Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. And he's also been criticized for his proximity with Israel. He was received with honors by Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister. Remember, Israel is like the bête noire of the regime in Iran right now. And there was also other criticism of him during the bombing raids in June this year, when the US and Israel bombed Iranian nuclear facilities. He said that that was a favorable option by those two countries. But he didn't mention any of the Iranians who lost their lives, who were killed in those bombing raids. And I think many people saw that as being a big oversight on his part. So he's not a galvanizing figure. He's become a figurehead because people see him as an alternative to the regime of the mullahs who are in charge in Iran right now. But I think whether or not he is fully supported by the whole of the population in Iran, that still remains a question that many people are asking.
Philip Turle, International Affairs Editor, thanks very much indeed.